Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our week 2 team builder for the Wodonga Why Nots in the Jank Tank Draft League. You might be wondering, if you saw my last Wodonga Why Nots video, you might be wondering, hey, you sent out a team builder video and you never put up the battle video. Why is that? The reason is actually very funny. Like, I said that in that team builder video, like, by the time it went out, the battle was already going to have happened, etc. So that week, in fact, as that episode was going out, I scheduled it to go out like an hour after like our scheduled time of the match. I was in contact with the person I was going to be facing for like a half an hour, like while we were trying to set things up, trying to connect, etc. Uh, and then just they dropped off the face of the earth. Nobody in the server has been able to contact them, from what I can tell, uh, for the past 3 weeks. So Snake King, I hope you're doing well. Hope wherever life has taken you, you are okay. Uh, if you see this, please come back to us. We miss you very much. But yeah, the league eventually decided that we'd have to kind of move on with the matches, keep the league going. So uh, 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 that week 1 match and actually the week 2 match as well, because uh, their week 2 opponent also was trying to get into contact with them. So those 2 matches are both considered a forfeit as of this moment, and hopefully I get to face uh, Snake King's team at some later point, because I was really looking forward to that. But yeah, hopefully they're okay. They're doing fine, and we hope to see you back. But anyways, that's the kind of explanation for why this kind of part of the channel has been dormant for so long. It's because there's been nothing to show at all in terms of battles. But now that we've finally decided to move on, I've got my week 2 team. Everything is ready to go. So let's just get started explaining everything. Our week 2 opponent is going to be TEDFORPREZ. Very good builder, from what I can tell. Let's go over Ted's draft real quick. Here, what we've got, very strong start, of course, Grookey, a very powerful Pokemon. It gets Fake Out Knockoff access. Naturally, Rillaboom is super strong in terms of VGC, and Grookey is absolutely just a miniature version of Rillaboom. It's not quite as strong. Naturally, base 65 attack is not base 125 attack. Still should be pretty good. Its speed stat, 65, is actually the highest speed stat you'll see on TEDFORPREZ's team. And this is a kind of thing that you'll see a lot in this team. It's not a very fast team, and actually most of the speeds are very clumped. And so I'll kind of discuss that later, but base 65 speed, it hits 128 stat at maximum. It's probably not going to be that. If I had to guess, it's going to be actually running more towards the bulkier side, with, like, say, an Adamant Nature and max HP. That would be something that I would consider somewhat likely. Could also run something like 148 HP and 108 speed, just maximize grassy terrain recovery, put the rest in speed. There's a lot of different options, but this is the fastest thing on the opponent's team, and that's something to keep in mind. That in terms of speed, my opponent is not exactly packing the greatest firepower. Moving on, next we've got Mudbray. Mudbray is a solid candidate to hold the Eviolite on this team. With stamina, it just manages to outbulk a lot of things, especially with an Eviolite. It actually gets base 100 attack, so I can see this being even like just incredibly strong. It can run min speed. It can run a little bit of speed investment. The thing is, it's base 45 speed, which is 20 base points slower than Grookey, but it's like in the slower half of my opponent's team is the thing. So again, a lot of the speed stats are very similar. You'll see that. Next we have Vullaby. Vullaby is another Pokemon that's notorious for its bulk and its Mandibuzz. It's known to be incredibly bulky in singles. It's pivot there. I could expect something like a Roost, Foul Play, Protect sort of thing with leftovers here. It's not like a hard set in stone thing that will come, but it's possible. It can run speed investment. It can run no speed investment in full bulk. The thing is, its offenses are not strong. You see base 55 and 45 respectively. So if it's running offensive, I'd expect it to be running either Life Orb or a Choice Band item, to be completely honest. And its base 60 speed does not really help it fit into any niches whatsoever. It's actually the third fastest thing on the team. So, yeah. Overcoat ability is probably the better one, although Big Pex is something to consider. Weak Armor could be. If my opponent wants to go with something really janky, I don't think there's a beat-up user on this team outside of maybe Pangoro or Pancham. Does Pancham get beat up or does it not? It doesn't. Only Pangoro does, I think, then. Because I know that Pangoro does. In any case, next up we have Torchic. Torchic, speed boost naturally is a great ability. I honestly have no idea what this thing could run. It could run a Choice Band, it could run a Life Orb, it could run a lot of things. But it wants to be running an offensive item, probably. Its base 70 special attack and base 60 attack are not the greatest. It could also be running Focus Sash, though, because its bulk is notably lacking 45, 40, 50. The thing about Torchic is it also doesn't get that much coverage. I think it only gets like Fire-type moves on the special side. And round. Yeah, its special coverage is Fire-type moves and round. Its physical coverage is a bit better. Like it gets Night Slash, it gets Low Kick, it gets a Shadow Claw Rock Slide, but like nothing too crazy. You could run Aerial Ace or Bounce, or you can run Dig, but there's just nothing great. And its physical attack stat is worse than its special attack stat. So I could see it happening that there's a bunch of physical moves and this thing runs something like Jolly Nature instead, and then it hits 112 stat, which is, again, not good. But yeah, what I'm expecting to see is something like this. And actually, Torchic is what I'm basing all my speed stats off this week, or my high speed stats off this week, that is to say. Because this thing at +1 hits 159 speed. If you multiply 106 by 1.5, that's what you get. So if it's running max speed, speed boost, that's something that you can see. It gets to +1 after a Protect on turn 1. And then it's actually faster than something like Grookey, which only hits 128 speed stat. But again, I have covered for this. So, Pancham. Pancham gets Iron Fist and it has base 82 attack. This is a strong ability. I think it's 1.2 times boost for power on punch moves. Yeah. So, and it gets a lot of punch moves. It gets the elemental punches. It gets Drain Punch. I think it gets a Mega Punch, but I might be wrong about that. Yeah, it does. So, lots of good coverage. It's a pure fighting type, so Fairy type is only 2 times effective and not 4 times effective like it would be against Dark types. But it does mean that it doesn't have anything great for Psychic types. And it actually loses to Psychic types instead of beating them. Again, it's in that weird. This is actually base 43, which again only 22 base points slower than the fastest thing on their team, is the fourth slowest. So that's something to keep note of. While it is definitely strong and it gets great coverage, it's also in an awkward speed tier where like it gets down to 43 speed stat, but like I'm not expecting to see it down there, and I don't even know where any of the speeds on this team are going to end up if they want to go Trick Room. The thing is, they don't even have a Trick Room setter on the team, and almost like half of my team can outspeed their team without Tailwind, and the entire team can outspeed their entire team in Tailwind. So just something to note. Alolan Vulpix. This is a mon that I really wanted to draft myself because it's really good with Snow Warning Aurora Veil. It's the only Little Cup mon with that, although you will see Obama Snow gets it. And the whatever it's Snover does not get Aurora Veil access. So Alolan Vulpix, because it has again very subpar bulk, it's 38-40 on the physical side with 65 special defense. I'm expecting this to be running Focus Sash with Aurora Veil. That's kind of what Alolan Ninetales is running. If you ever manage to somehow see it in the wild in VGC, so that's something to note. Freeze Dry is a good move. Icy Wind for support. It's the other speed tying Grookey. It's tied for the fastest mon on their team at base 65. And again, base 65 is something that I can outspeed with a lot of my Pokemon. But they do get speed control and Icy Wind on this Pokemon, so that's something to note. Next we have Wooper. Wooper is the slowest thing on their team at base 15. It gets a couple moves. It doesn't really get anything great. As you look at its stats, they are not great either. Basically, Wooper would have been good if we had access to like full move sets and everything, but because it does not, it doesn't get something like Toxic. Like the best it can do is recover to stall me a couple turns. Honestly, I don't expect this to come. I didn't really prepare for it that much because it just doesn't have much in terms of anything going for it. Like it's slower than all of my Pokemon, but it can't threaten any of them really. Like even its dual stabs, Waterfall Stomping Tantrum is as strong as you're going to get as base 106 or base 45 max is 106. So I'm not really expecting to see much of Wooper. It's not great here. Hatena, you would think, hey, Hatterini is a great Trick Room setter. Hatena doesn't even get Trick Room. So I'm not entirely certain about it as Hatena as like a draft pick in general. It's also base 39 speed, which is faster than Hatterini by 10 points. It's also just in a really weird like spot against my team. Like again, this is base 39. That's just so awkward, and it doesn't even get Trick Room to make it slower than anything else. If it wants to run min speed, this team has no Trick Room support actually. So, like it has strong special attack, and I should probably make this something like Quiet Nature or Modest Nature to see like 118. Like it's a decent special attack stat, but it's also pure Psychic type, so it doesn't even get the resists from Fairy. That said, I don't have many Dark types, and I don't have. I have like X Scissor. If I want to run that on Sneasel, I think it gets it, but like again, Hatena, like it gets Magic Bounce. Sure, that's probably the best you're going to get with it. It can Calm Mind, Dazzling Gleam. It can Expanding Force, but even then you'd have to max it first. I don't expect this thing to come. It's just not. I don't expect it to be great, to be completely honest. It just doesn't seem like it would be great. Like looking at its stat line and even its typing and what it can do, like it doesn't even set Trick Room. There's no Trick Room setter on this team. So I'm really not sure how my opponent plans on getting speed control in this match. Next I have, my opponent has Nidoran. Nidoran gets Hustle as an ability, and that's actually worrying. It's probably the max candidate for my opponent most of the time, if I had to guess. It's a pure poison type, so it's weak to ground and psychic. So I'm expecting something like Body Slam, Drill Run, Poison Jab, Protect. Like 3 physical moves. It has strong physical attack at, like, again, this is like, it's base 50 speed, so it's one of the faster things on my opponent's team, but again, really weird speed tier. I don't know how my opponent's planning on getting speed control. And with Hustle outside of max, this thing's moves are missing 80% of the time, or 20% of the time, and it's just not consistent. Like, even with this being multiplied by 1.5 and then 1.3, it's still not going to KO some of my bulkier Pokemon. Even with, like, Poison Jab, I don't expect it to be one-hit KOing a Spritzy with Eviolite, which is a weakness to Poison. Rockruff, I honestly have no idea what to expect. It gets Accelerock, I think. No, it doesn't even get Accelerock yet. So I have no idea what to think. This thing has like 4 abilities it can have. It's just so weird. Like Steadfast, I guess, is probably my opponent's best bet. Like just because like they can run max speed, like Jolly or something, max speed. It gets some moves like, I don't know, just fill stuff out. Rock Slide. Sure, give it Protect. It gets Swords Dance, apparently. Where's Protect? Yeah. Yeah, it gets moves. It has so many abilities. I honestly don't know what to expect. Probably Steadfast, if I had to guess, because I have Fake Out support in Sneasel. It wants to have its speed raised, probably, if it's going to flinch. It could be on tempo. I don't expect it to be on tempo, because there's no real reason for it to be. It's honestly going to be a complete surprise to me, and I have no idea what Rockruff is going to do to my team, and I would love to see it, to be honest, because I think looking at its stat line, it can be good, but also it's got not enough bulk to do too much to me, I think. Finally, we have Beldum. Beldum looks great in theory, and then you take a look at its moves, and then you're like, it only gets like 4 moves, 5 moves total, including one of those is Steel Beam. So, I mean, sure, like if it comes, and I don't expect it to come, this is what it's going to be 100% of the time. You're never going to be running Steel Beam on this. You're going to be running something like Iron Defense with leftovers and hoping to just survive hits. Is my best guess. And honestly, it could work against my team, but I don't have much faith in it. That being said, now that we've taken a look at my opponent's team, it is time, as always, to take a look at my own. And so, without further ado, here we go. We're in Motostoke today. And here is the team, everyone. We've got our 6 that we're bringing. This week we're going with Trick Room, actually. So, here we go. We've got our little cat, smiley face. This week we are going with a specific amount of speed to outspeed that +1 Torchic. Again, that's 160 speed stat, which you're not going to see at level 100 naturally. A little bit of special defense, a little bit of defense, max attack, a little bit of HP. Or rest in HP, rather. Yeah, this is just going to be out there to deal damage. It's adamant nature, so it's absolutely maximum attack, because it doesn't need to be Jolly to outspeed anything. And I think most weeks it won't. It's again inner focus, because the Grookey getting Fake Out, that's the only reason we need it this week. Otherwise, I would have probably gone with a different set, to be completely honest. We've got Fake Out, Ice, in English is Ice Shard. We've got Throat Chop, and we've got Triple Axle. Something to note, if the Grookey is not running any bulk, Ice Shard one-hit KOs. If the Grookey is running bulk, Fake Out plus Ice Shard KOs. And I'll actually know if it's running any bulk based on the first time I fake it out. Because Fake Out should do about 20% if it's bulky, and about 25 to 30% if it's not bulky. And this time we've got the peckish mark on our little kitty. It's very hungry for a win. We've been deprived of our week 1 win, despite having the win on the record. We're hungry for battle. So this is our only mark this week. I haven't taken the time to put ribbons on all of the other mons. Next up, we have our Spritzy. Oh, and of course, we're holding the Never Melt Ice, specifically to help with that Grookey calc, because without it, it doesn't KO, and I'd rather not be choice locked into something, because I want to be able to fake out. Anyways, moving on, we've got our little Spritzy. I've given it a name that is literally just its face. Look at it. Look at it again. Yep, that is its face. Okay, this is our Eviolite holder this week. We want it to be bulky because this is our Trick Room setter. We're running min speed, no speed investment. This hits only 25 speed stat, which is very low even for Little Cup. It's only base 23. And we're actually running max special attack this week. No investment in special defense, a bit of HP and a lot of defense. That's to help with calcs and to also help with grassy terrain recovery. I'm expecting to be in grassy terrain a fair amount because Grookey is a thing. And why are we running max special attack on our Trick Room setter? That's because we're running Nasty Plot on our Trick Room setter. We've got Protect, Nasty Plot, Trick Room, Moonblast. Moonblast hits everything on the opposing team for super effective or neutral, I think, outside of Belda and Nidoran. So if those are the two things that I'm not going to be hitting for super effective or neutral, I'm absolutely fine with it. Because Nidoran is the only of the two that I would consider a threat. Again, that's 160 HP for the grassy terrain recovery. We hit 126 stat in special attack. That is correct. Spritzy is, no joke, actually relatively strong at base, like something around 60-ish, 65 maybe, special attack. I want to say it's base 65. That sounds right to me. 63, yeah, base 63 special attack. It's no slouch. Moving on though, and again, quiet nature for min speed max special attack. Moving on, we've got our little Solosis. It's just baby. Look at it. Look at it. It's just baby. Again, min speed. This is actually slower even than our Spritzy at base 20 speed. It's, again, min speed, max special attack. This one's got a lot of HP investment because it's essentially got no base HP. Like, even with max HP investment, I'm only hitting 144 stat, or near max. I've got something like 200 or 188 HP investment in this. And it's still hardly hitting 144. But yeah, that's essentially because I'm more worried about physical threats on my opponent's team. I'm going to be running more physically defensive this week than specially defensive. We've got Magic Guard Life Orb, which is going to be outputting a huge amount of power. We're not actually running Trick Room on the Solosis. We're actually running Protect, Psychic, Shadow Ball, Flash Cannon. Shadow Ball Flash Cannon is some great coverage, picks up a lot of the opposing team that I'm not otherwise hitting. And of course, naturally being able to sync the special defense and having access to max Steel Spike in general is just very helpful. Yeah, again, quiet nature. Moving on. We've got the Hans. This is Q-Fant. Our Q-Fant is our Hans as always. This week we're running Weakness Policy because we're not running Life Orb, and that is going to be something, let me tell you. I've run Weakness Policy Orucs-Oraihc in the past. It has never disappointed, and I don't expect Q-Fant to disappoint with its Weakness Policy either. Base 80 attack again is just insane. It still gets Sheer Force as well, boost from all three of the moves that I'm running this week: Iron Head, Rock Slide, Play Rough, and I'm also running Protect naturally. I've got enough HP to hit 160, max attack, rest in special defense. The special defense is specifically for the thing that's special and gets speed boost. That Pokemon. You know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Torchic. That's the one. That's your name. Anyways, next we have Leon Ball. This is our little Spheal. This week we're running our bulky Spheal with leftovers. We've got almost max HP, max special attack. It's hitting 176 stat. So we put the last 12 in normal defense. It's running min speed. And this is our self-proc on our weakness policy. We've got our Bulldoze, Protect, Yawn, Ice Beam. I would run a water move on it, but the only water move it gets that's good is Surf, and then I'd have to Protect with a more offensive mon. So instead I'm just running Ice Beam for my little offensive move that I need to have on every mon. Again, quiet nature for max special attack actually, and then speed. Basically, all of my mons here should be relatively slower than almost everything else on my opponent's team. Again, their slowest mon outside of Beldum and Wooper is Hatena at base 39. And so everything on this team, except for Q-Fant, which is going to be running, which is base 40, will guaranteed underspeed everything on their team except for Beldum and Wooper. And those two I'm not considering offensive threats. Finally, we have Golett. Golett is, I think, it's base 35, so again, underspeeding everything on their team. This week we are running, again, if you look at my HP stats, this is something that I was trying to hit with all of my mons because I don't have to hit a speed stat when I'm out-slowing everything on the opposing team. I can just run HP to what I want, and what I want to hit with HP is a multiple of 16 for Grassy Terrain recovery because my opponent has Grookey. It's also good because two of my mons are immune to Sandstorm damage, and one of them is immune to Hail. This week we're actually running Assault Vest on Golett, and we're running Iron Fist. And again, that's a 20% boost to all of our punch moves. We've got 3 punch moves. We got Shadow Punch, we got Fire Punch, we got Drain Punch. Drain Punch is going to be key for keeping this thing healthy. And then finally we've got Earthquake as our 4th move because Earthquake is just a very strong move. And in a pinch, I can Protect Orucs-Oraihc and do this. I can even, in a real pinch, self-proc with an Earthquake if I'm feeling that crazy. And that is essentially the team. Basically, things I'm looking for in terms of leads. I'm expecting to lead Sneasel a lot of the time, mostly with Spritzy. I could also lead Sneasel with Q-Fant. I can lead Sneasel with essentially anything and it'll be fine. Like Sneasel and Sfeel, I can fake out Yawn, I can do a lot of stuff. I think leading Sfeel is going to be a good thing to do game 2 specifically for the just for a Yawn into a turn 1 max if I have to. So I'm probably going to be leaving Sfeel in the back if I'm bringing it at all. Game 1. Another lead I can do is I can lead Spritzy Reuniclus, because both of them get Ally Switch and both of them get Trick Room. It's a big mind game, and they will have no idea which of these is going to be the offensive one and which one is going to be the Trick Room setter. Or whether I could just Ally Switch. So, it's all a big mind game, as far as that goes. I could even lead with Golett if I'm feeling especially frisky. It should take hits from anything, and if I just max it turn 1, it's dishing out far too much damage for my opponent, I think, to deal with. Just because of its high base attack, 74 at max attack, it's pretty good. And the only big threat to it is Grookey, but again, I have Sneasel, which can fake it out or even just one-hit KO it. And Sneasel should essentially dissuade Grookey from doing almost anything. Like, Grookey could max, but then Grookey even is risking Sneasel maxing, which is something that I have considered a lot. But yeah, that's kind of the plan, and hopefully that plan gets executed well. By the time this video goes up, the actual battle should hopefully have already happened. Again, I don't want to jinx it like last week. But yeah, in any case, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the battle video. Till then, bye!